So Ilhan Omar has been caught scamming again, this time funneling taxpayer money into her husband's company.
Accusations of fraud against a business partly owned by Representative Omar's husband. Fox 9's Corin Hogger joins us now in the newsroom after digging into what's behind this legal fight. All right, Corin, what is Omar's connection to these accusations?
Karen, it's nothing directly. Her husband is Tim Mynett, and his consulting firm legally got about $3 million from her 2020 campaign. Now he's a business partner in a few business ventures that are involved in lawsuits claiming his companies have made money disappear. In the case of Tim Mynett, whose LinkedIn page shows he was a partner in the E Street Group along with Will Haler, there's no publicly known criminal investigation. But there may be something behind the scenes.
We have connected with federal law enforcement on this. I believe that they're looking into it as we speak.
Ned Horsted is the CEO of a South Dakota cannabis company that gave Haler and Mynett's company $3.5 million to kickstart investments, but ended up with about $1.8 million back and a court judgment, an IOU for the other $1.7 million. Omar's office tells me she has no involvement in any business ventures, and the situation reeks of political desperation.
If you have a two-person business and one of them is a spouse of a member of Congress, it seems suspicious, to say the least, that they never knew about $3.5 million that came into the bank account. They never knew that 1.7 went missing.
The lawyers for Mynett and Haler say they absolutely did not intend to defraud anyone in that cannabis business or in a winery deal that's also the subject of a civil lawsuit.
It actually happens to be somewhere around 68, 70 members of Congress. We're talking about out of 12,591. Guys, this doesn't happen very often, is my point. So they pick and choose, they decide, and they've decided on McCormick here, but they have not decided on Ilhan Omar, which is why the vice president also said this yesterday during the first anti-fraud task force. Take a listen.
We're going to do a number of things. First of all, we're going to turn back on those anti-fraud protections so that all of these cabinet officials are looking at what's going on and focusing on it. The second thing is that we're going to take a whole of government approach. So much of what's going to make the anti-fraud task force work is that we're communicating across different departments. So when Bobby Kennedy is talking to Scott Bessent about things that he's seeing in Medicare and Medicaid, when Scott is seeing things at Treasury, when Brooke is seeing things at Agriculture, when Scott is seeing things at Housing and Urban Development, what we're going to actually do is force the bureaucracy to take this seriously and work together as political principles to make sure that we stop allowing fraudsters to steal the American people's money.
Yeah, so this whole thing with this representative defrauding, obviously, the American taxpayer, it's no shocker. I guess I have to say I'm a little stunned that she was found guilty. But I think that is a good thing. And whether we're talking about her, we're talking about Ilhan Omar, we're talking about Nancy Pelosi, who's the most successful one in all, we know some is rotten. So that actually brings me to a special guest here that I want to bring on, an expert on these matters. Joining us today is my good friend Ross Gibbons. And Ross knows this world like no one else. He knows exactly how these people of Congress, like Nancy Pelosi, Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, are profiting off the backs of our hard-earned money. Before we get into all of that, let's actually bring the man here, Ross Gibbons. Thank you for making the time and being here on the show. How are you?
Hey, good to see you, DeVory. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So why don't we just hop right into it? What do you think has been the main way that members of Congress have been able to get away with insider trading? I know they won't call it that, but sure, I think you'll be able to explain it properly. Go ahead.
Well, it helps a lot when you're the one writing the laws, right? So that's the end of it. And they're the ones that would have to write a law banning themselves from taking away their own honey hole, essentially. You know, and there's been, what have we seen? 3, 4, 5 bills introduced to ban insider trading. If they're all so supportive of it, why don't they get passed in an afternoon? They never do. And it's always either, you know, the bill gets introduced in the middle of the night and nobody votes on it, or they attach it to some crazy bill funding, you know, grasshopper research in Nicaragua that nobody wants to sign up for, and it never passes. But yeah, they continue to get away with it because, again, they're in charge and they're the ones writing the rules. And even if you go back to the Stock Act from 2012, it didn't do anything to ban this. All it did was make them have some reporting requirements for these.
Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for sticking with us. If you're new here, do let us know where you're watching us from. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you never miss a video. Video credit goes to the original creators for every video used in this episode. A so-called leak involving Ilhan Omar is spreading fast online, triggering strong reactions and bold claims. Some posts are treating it like breaking news, while others are urging caution, saying there's no confirmed evidence behind the narrative. In today's media environment, stories can explode overnight, but verification takes time. So the real question is, what's actually confirmed and what's being amplified without proof? Let's get into the video. I'll be right back with more commentaries.
The Trump administration ramps up its crackdown on fraud. Vice President J.D. Vance is now targeting Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Now, Vance is leading the new anti-fraud task force, which met for the first time on Friday. Now, we have learned that Omar's immigration history is now under review. Omar came to the U.S. as a refugee from Somalia in 1995. She's been dogged with questions about her marriages for a while now. Officials note immigration fraud can carry serious penalties, including losing citizenship.
We actually think that Ilhan Omar definitely committed immigration fraud against the United States of America. And I talked to Stephen Miller about this actually recently. We're trying to look at what the remedies are. That's the thing that we're trying to figure out is what are the legal remedies now that we know that she's committed immigration fraud? How do you go after her? How do you investigate her? How do you actually do the thing? How do you build the case necessary to get some justice for the American people? There's a related issue, Benny, which is she has been at the center of a lot of the worst fraudsters in the Somalian community.
Well, a spokesperson for the Minnesota Democratic Congresswoman calls the allegations a ridiculous lie. But the Republic of Somalia, look at this, a functioning democracy that Somalia claims as a territory, posted on X that it would like to see her right there.
Hello, Patriots. Well, she spews anti-American venom every time she opens her mouth. And she may be on a plane out of America soon. Who is it? Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Dr. Ken Henry, and this is Conservative Commentary, where we discuss today's politics and shenanigans with a conservative viewpoint, particularly a senior conservative viewpoint. Hey, if you wouldn't mind, give us a like, comment, share, and subscribe. These things really do help us grow the channel and get the message out. Now, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has flown a Somali flag outside of our office in D.C. She's done a lot of things. This week, Vice President Vance said in an interview with Benny Johnson that it was his belief that she had committed immigration fraud. If that's the case, she can be denaturalized and sent out of America. Now, understand, she came to America as a Somali refugee as a child and became a naturalized citizen, I believe it was at age 17. But here's where the fraud comes in. She married her brother to get him into the country and naturalized, and then divorced him after having divorced her first husband and then remarried her first husband. That sure does look fraudulent to me. She and her husband own a winery that a couple years ago they reported a net worth of $15,000. Today, that net worth is over $50 million. Just saying. There's wide speculation that she is neck deep in the Somali fraud that has been uncovered in Minnesota. And the time for her reckoning has come. We'll see what happens with Ilhan Omar, but I know many of us who have watched her say such things about America have heard it enough. So I want you to watch this clip from Fox News and then share your thoughts with us in the comments.
Well, while Democrats fail to protect innocent Americans, they were busy using yesterday's protests to trash President Trump.
Donald Trump just has not chipped away at our democracy. He has taken a wrecking ball to the very foundation of what makes America great. We have an administration that is openly and brazenly breaking the law and is acting like the Constitution is optional. And while they are doing that, they are shamefully and blatantly lying about every single thing they are doing.
But according to Vice President J.D. Vance, it's Omar who's doing the lying. Vance said that this week that he thinks Omar definitely committed immigration fraud and is now looking to build a case against her. A spokesperson for Omar called the accusation, quote, ridiculous lie. But the tiny African nation of Somaliland, different than Somalia, is ready to help and is calling for Omar to be extradited to them.
Y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this one. It seemed like Ilhan Omar just got even more bad news, which is good news for us, because now she's lashing out after J.D. Vance delivered her some devastating news and saying that the DOJ right now is building a case against her because she did commit immigration fraud, and we all knew that. We were just waiting on J.D. Vance them to see it. We already knew she married her brother. She been stealing money. The person she was working with to feed our children program they had going on, the person that went to jail for that, he admitted that it was fraud, that it was fake, and Ilhan Omar was there working for him. And not only that, you got a small Somali community now telling President Trump to go ahead and extradite her to them. Like, they would take Ilhan Omar right off the United States of America's hands. They said they just waiting on President Trump to say the word. We got to get into this. So like I said, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. And shout out to the one that always watches the entire video. I appreciate all of you because y'all definitely help get the video out there. So I do want to say I appreciate all of you for that.
Moments like this show how quickly online claims can shape public perception. That's why it's important to rely on credible sources, verified reporting, and context, not just viral posts. If you value conversations that go deeper than headlines, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on your notifications so you don't miss future discussions. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay compassionate, and most importantly, stay active in the dialogue. If you missed what was said at the beginning, watch this video again. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.